The bond we have with our dogs, it's one of the most incredible relationships out there. But have you ever stopped and really wondered how they actually feel our love? As an animal behavioral psychologist, this question is my obsession. And it turns out it's got nothing to do with the big, flashy gestures we think matter so much. Today, we're going to dive into the small, almost invisible moments that science shows are the real foundation of that deep, unbreakable connection. We've all been there, right? We buy the fancy, grain-free food, the squeakiest new toys. We plan these epic weekend hikes. We think we're shouting our love from the rooftops with these grand gestures. But what's so fascinating is that the actual science, well, it tells a completely different story, a much, much quieter one. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If it's not the expensive toys or the gourmet treats, then what on earth is it? How does our affection actually land in their minds and bodies? Well, the answer isn't in what you buy, it's in biology. It's in neurochemistry. And it's happening in moments you're probably overlooking every single day. Okay, so first up, let's just clear the air. Before we can get to what really works, we've got to knock down a few of the popular myths about how our dogs see love. We need to make a little room for what the science actually shows us. Here it is, the big mental shift we need to make. We tend to think about love through our human lens, gifts, special occasions. But for your dog, that bond isn't some abstract idea. It's a real, measurable, biological event. It's built and rebuilt through these tiny, consistent interactions that are triggering actual hormonal responses in both of you. So where does this whole biological connection even start? Well, it begins with two of the most direct tools you've got, your eyes and your voice. You're already using them constantly, but with a few tiny adjustments, they can become unbelievably powerful. The first moment, and it is so incredibly simple, is just eye contact. I know, it sounds basic, but the act of holding a soft, gentle gaze with your dog is this unique and profound bonding tool, one that evolution has pretty much reserved just for the relationship between humans and dogs. And here is the absolutely incredible science behind it. A 2015 study from Azabu University found that when a dog and their person just gaze into each other's eyes, something amazing happens. Oxytocin, we call it the bonding hormone, spikes in both of them at the same time. They even tried this with human-raised wolves, and nothing. This is a biochemical conversation that our two species literally co-evolved to have with each other. It's wild. Okay, next up, your voice. You know that kind of high-pitched, sing-songy voice you use when you talk to your dog? Yeah, that one. It turns out it's doing some real work on a neurological level. But, and this is the important part, it's not just how you say it, it's also what you say. And here's what that actually looks like. A study from the University of York measured this stuff. Take a look at that first bar. Engagement goes through the roof when a warm tone is combined with words they know, like walk or good boy. But use that exact same sweet tone with words that mean nothing to them, the engagement just plummets. They aren't just hearing your emotion, they are listening for meaning. So what this really tells us is that your dog's brain is way more sophisticated than we usually give it credit for. fMRI studies have actually confirmed that they process the meaning of words in their left hemisphere, just like we do. But here's the kicker. Their brains where word center only lights up when the positive tone and the positive words actually match up. They are actively cross-referencing what you say with how you're saying it. They're fact-checking your vibe. All right, let's talk rituals. Those totally normal, everyday moments like you coming home from work or just going for a walk, these are actually golden opportunities to strengthen your bond. We just have to rethink how we approach them a little bit. For years, we all heard this advice. Ignore your dog for the first few minutes you're home to prevent separation anxiety. Well, guess what? That was exactly backwards. A massive 2021 survey found that owners who did those calm, low-key greetings actually had dogs with worse separation behaviors. A warm greeting with some physical contact and using their name is what keeps those good oxytocin levels high. Now, let's talk about the daily walk. Most of our walks are human-led, right? We're focused on getting from point A to point B, getting the exercise in. But a 2019 study introduced this idea of a dog-led sniffari, where they get to follow their nose and choose the path. The results? Dogs who got to do this were measurably more optimistic. Why? Because all that nose work is lighting up their dopamine reward system in a way that our structured power walk just can't. So let's move on to something fun, playtime and praise. The way you engage with your dog in these moments has a direct, measurable effect on their psychological state and on how they see you as their partner. Here is another one of those classic myths we really need to bust. The idea that you have to win every game of tug-of-war to show them who's boss. A 2002 study tested this, and guess what? Who won had zero impact on dominance behaviors. But you know what did change? When the dogs were allowed to win, they actually showed more focus and attentiveness toward their owner afterwards. And that really gets to the heart of it all. It's not about winning or losing, it's about your attitude. Research shows that when you give warm, verbal praise during a game, your dog's cortisol, that's their stress hormone, goes down. But if you're disciplinary during that same game, their cortisol goes up. Your emotional state is the most important part of the game. This might be one of the most powerful studies I've seen. A 2016 fMRI study looked inside dogs' brains to see what they valued more, food or praise. And for a huge number of them, their brain's reward center lit up just as much, and in some cases even more, for praise from their owner than it did for a piece of hot dog. Your voice, when used the right way, can be just as good as their favorite treat. And finally, let's talk about what might just be the most surprising thing of all. The most powerful way to connect with your dog sometimes means doing less, not more. It's about the simple, quiet power of your presence. So what's with the big 0 on the screen? Well, that is the difference in stress reduction between actively petting a dog and just sitting quietly with them in the same room. A study on shelter dogs found both actions caused an identical drop in the stress hormone cortisol. Your calm presence all by itself is a powerful force for their nervous system. But wait, there's another deeper layer to this. It's not just about being physically in the room. It turns out that what's going on inside your own head is what really truly matters to your dog. This right here is a total game changer. A recent study tracked dog owner pairs and found that the single biggest thing that raised a dog's cortisol levels wasn't what the owner was doing, it was the owner's internal state. Specifically, their work-related stress, that mental chatter they couldn't turn off. Your dog is reading your internal stress levels, not just your outward actions. So, when you put this all together, you realize that the love your dog feels isn't some fuzzy abstract thing. It's biological. It's written in spikes of oxytocin from a shared look, hits of dopamine from a fun sniff walk, and it's tracked in cortisol patterns that literally mirror your own stress. This amazing bond is built, or sometimes quietly chipped away at, in all of these tiny moments that feel too ordinary to even notice. It really just comes down to being intentional with the little things. So as you go about the rest of your day, just think about it. Which one of these scientifically proven small moments are you going to consciously create and share with your dog today?